Hello, this is Christina here with the Stage Nature Center, coming to you live. Today we're going to be learning more about owls and meeting another one of our resident owls here at the Nature Center. So we'll get started here in just a few moments. I'm going to give a couple minutes for some more people to get connected, and then we'll get started. Hello again. I see some people are checking in. This is Christina with the Stage Nature Center. We're coming to you live. We're going to be talking about owls today and meeting one of our resident owls. So I will get started here in just one more moment. I'll see you in just a minute. Hi, this is Christina here with the Stage Nature Center, coming to you live from the Stage Nature Center here in Troy, Michigan. Today we're going to be talking about owls and meeting our resident screech owl here in just a little bit. So I hope everybody is doing well and that you're getting connected okay. I see some people are checking in. I'm going to try to follow the comments along here while we go. I'm watching the comments on another device, and I see looks like people are getting checked in. Hello, hello. So I know that today we're excited to meet another owl. At the very beginning of all of these live Facebook streams that I started in March when everything closed because of COVID, the very first one I did was an owl program where we met our resident barred owl, Sam, short for Samantha. Today we're going to meet one of our resident screech owls, Mortimer. So I'll bring him out here in just a little bit. Before we get started with that, just a few updates on things. Again, if you've joined us before, you probably already know this, but our facility is now open. We're excited that we're open and people can come visit us here at the Stage Nature Center. You can come out on our trails. Our trails are open, and you don't have to come into the building to go out on the trails if you prefer just to go out on the trails. But if you do come to visit us in the building, we do have exhibits available. We do have some modifications in place to make sure everybody is safe and healthy. So we're asking everyone to wear masks when they come into the building right now. We're also keeping it to a maximum of 10 people in the building. And we're also asking people to give us their name and contact information so that way we can call people if something does happen and there ends up being a case of COVID, we can contact people. So those are some of the things that we've changed right now if you come to visit us. But otherwise, we are open, so come and visit us. We are doing live programs again. Again, they're modified to keep people safe and healthy, so we're only allowing 10 people in our programs right now, and a lot of our programs are outside, so we are trying to social distance as well. If you want more information on that, you can visit our website, stagenaturecenter.org, and that will give you more information on everything that is going on here right now, and that'll give you our updates and our programs that we have coming up. So I recommend that you guys go and visit our website. Also, thank you everyone for your support, especially since the closure. These have been hard times for everyone, and I've been happy to be able to do these live programs to keep connected with everybody while we've been closed. Today is my last virtual live program. I think today is the 26th episode, 26th program. So I'm happy that I've been able to do this and connect with you guys. I am looking into doing some sort of video log or a vlog so people can stay connected with what's going on here. They won't be live, but they'll be posted so people can still connect with us, see what's going on virtually. It'll be short snippets of updates as to what's going on here at the Nature Center. So look out for those on Facebook and on our website, stagenaturecenter.org, also on YouTube. And those I'm going to continue to do. Haven't quite decided how often we're going to do them yet. We're still working some of those details out, but just keep your eyes out for that. If you're able to donate, we welcome your donations. We have a donate button here as part of this post. Thank you to everyone who has donated and who has helped support us. You can also donate by going onto our website, stagenaturecenter.org. Donations help to keep us running because we are a nonprofit organization, and programs are our main source of funding, which we have until recently hadn't been doing for about 3 months. So we appreciate everyone's support. It helps us take care of our animals. It helps us maintain the trails. It helps keep us staffed so we can now do these live programs for you and so we can keep the building open. So thank you for everyone who has supported us, and thank you for your donations. We really appreciate it. So today, again, like I said, we're going to be meeting one of our owls. To get started off, actually, let me double check. I'm just going to look at the comments and questions here really quickly and see if, oh, I see people. Hello. Okay. So the owls that we have here at the Stage Nature Center, which we have 5, you probably saw that picture up here. Let me show you that picture again here. So this picture is of the 5 owls that we have here at the Stage Nature Center, and these owls are all rehabilitated owls. So these 5 owls live with us. They are permanent residents because they are all owls that were rescued. So they all have injuries that don't allow them to be returned to the wild, and that's why they're with us. They came to us from another organization that closed down several years ago, and now they live with us. We have permits to have them here as educational ambassadors of their species, which means that they help teach people about their species, and we take care of them. Today we're going to be meeting Mortimer, which is one of our screech owls. So as you're looking at these pictures, the 2 that are on the top, Mortimer and Rito, those are screech owls. The 2 that are on the bottom, Argyle and Sam, those are barred owls. And the one in the middle, that's Autumn. She is a great horned owl. And like I said, they all have injuries that don't allow them to be returned to the wild, which is why they're with us. And you heard Sam's story if you joined us at the very beginning of when we started doing all these virtual Nature Explorer programs back in March. You met Sam. If you didn't get to join us that episode, you can go onto our website, stagenaturecenter.org, and you can look that back up and meet Sam when I had her on Facebook Live. And so today we're going to be meeting one of our other owls, which is Mortimer. So I'm going to come back here to the camera. Okay. All right. So before we bring Mortimer out, I know we're excited. I'm going to show us a few things about owls, because once I get him on my hand, it's a little bit harder for me to move things around since I'm going to have him on one of my hands. But as you all know, some things that owls have in common is that they are nocturnal, which is one of my favorite things about them. I love nature and wildlife in general. I'm a little obsessed with owls. I'm a bird nerd. And I myself am kind of a night owl. I'm not nocturnal because we are not really nocturnal. There are people who like to stay awake at night and sleep during the day. Maybe some of you do that. And then there are people who work at night and sleep during the day. But we are not truly nocturnal. Owls are truly nocturnal. And we know that they're truly nocturnal because their adaptations, these things about their special features about their body and their behaviors, allow them to survive in the nighttime environment. One of those things is their eyes. So owls have very large eyes, and those pupils can get really large to let a lot of light into their eyes. And that's one of the things that helps them with being nocturnal, is that they can see a lot better in the dark than we can. I'm going to show you here a skull. Here we go. Of an owl. Some of you may have seen this already if you joined me for the first program back in March. But this is an owl skull. And these holes right here are where the eyes would sit. This is the skull, but these bones right here are actually called sclerotic rings. Now, owls' eyes, they are very large, but they're also a different shape than ours. So ours are more roundish towards the back. Their eyes are more of like a tube. So you can kind of see here where the eyes would go in. It's kind of like a tube in the back. And because of that, owls can't turn their eyes back and forth like you and I can. So I can look from one side to the other and all around without turning my head. Owls can't do that. Their eyes are stuck facing forward. Gives them great binocular vision. They can see very, very far out in front of them, but they can't see on their sides. So owls can turn their heads a lot farther than we can. So you and I can turn our heads what we would call 180 degrees. You can look over one shoulder and then look over the other shoulder. Owls can turn their heads past each shoulder, around to the back, and then back around the other way. So they can't spin them all the way around like some movies and TV shows show, but they can turn them a lot farther than we can, so 270 degrees. And they have more bones in their neck than we do, more vertebrae. We have 7 vertebrae in our necks, and owls have 14. So that helps them turn their heads farther than we can. So that's one feature about them that makes them a little bit different. But again, those eyes are very large, which helps them see very well at night, get those pupils really big, bring in a lot of light, and they can see very far away. They have binocular vision. So these are some things that help them get around at night. Owls also have excellent hearing. They have really good ears. Now, some people see owls that have tufts of feathers on their head, like you probably saw in the pictures here, like the screech owls. Some people call those ears or horns. They're not ears or horns. They're just feathers to make them look bigger, also to help them camouflage in with things like trees. They're not actually their ears. Their ears are underneath their head, and I have a picture here to show you. Their ears are underneath, not underneath their head, underneath their feathers on their head, and their ears are kind of similar to ours. I'm going to put this picture up right here. So this right here, this way, that is the eye of an owl. That's the beak. So you're looking at the side of the head, and that's the ear underneath the feathers. So if you move the feathers aside, you can see the ears, and they have flaps of skin kind of like we do. But what makes their ears different is that they have ears that are asymmetrical. So your ears and my ears are straight across from each other. You could pretty much draw a straight line. They're symmetrical. Owls' ears are asymmetrical. So one sits up higher and one sits down lower. And this image demonstrates that here. So they have one ear that sits higher than the other, and that gives them surround sound. So they can hear a lot better than we can, which is one reason why it's so hard to see them, because they hear us coming long before we're even there, because they have such good hearing. And so it can be hard to find owls because they stay away from us if they hear us coming. That's why when I do owl walks, if you've been on an owl walk with me or if you come on one this coming winter, we try to be as quiet as we can as we're walking along the trail, so that way we don't scare off the owls. So that's another feature. Owls also have awesome camouflage. So a lot of the owls that we see around here have feathers that are kind of brown or gray or orange or dark orangish, and these colors help them blend in with the trees. So the owls that we have here at the Nature Center, the barred owl, the great horned owl, and the screech owl, are all owls that like to live in trees. And so these colors help them blend in with the trees. Now, there is an owl called the snowy owl that doesn't necessarily live in the trees. And that's this owl right here. And they have a lot of white to help them blend in with the snow. They also like to live in the open tundra. So you'll see them a lot of times on the ground. And that's why this white helps them blend in with the snow. Now, the females will have more brown and splotchy colors on their body, and that especially helps them blend in with the grass when they're breeding and nesting during the summertime because their nests are on the ground. So this is also camouflage, but it's helping them blend in with something different. Now to demonstrate our owls having camouflage, this gives you an excellent idea of how well a screech owl can blend in with the tree. You could be looking right at that tree and not even see the owl because they just blend right in like it's a part of the tree. And this bottom picture here actually shows a really large owl called a great gray owl, and it's blending in with the trunk of the tree. So they have excellent camouflage. Owls also have silent flight, so they can fly through the air very quietly without making a sound. An owl could fly right over your head and land on a branch and you would never know it was there. And that's because of their feathers. Their feathers are extremely soft, but their feathers also have these little projections called barbules at the edges of their feathers that help break up the sound when they're flying. So owls have silent flight, and that's another reason we just don't know they're there, because when they're flying through the trees, you're just not going to hear them. So here is the wing from a great horned owl, much larger than that other wing that I was showing you. Great horned owls are one of the larger owls that we have here in Michigan. But again, I just wanted you to see these colors, and it's kind of hard to see, but you can see some of the serrations along the edge of their feather there that helps break up the sound when they're flying. This is also why owls look so much bigger than they actually are, because their feathers are very fluffy and soft, and that helps with silent flight. So they look a lot heavier and bigger than they actually are. Birds in general are not as heavy as we might think they are because they have hollow bones, which help them fly easier. But owls in particular, their feathers being so fluffy makes them look even bigger. So they tend to look a lot bigger than they actually are. Let me show you this here. Those feathers are also different on them because their feathers go all the way down to their talons, to their toes. So other birds of prey, I have another foot here to show you. This is from a hawk. You'll see that this doesn't have any feathers on its leg going down to its toes. Whereas the great horned owl has feathers going all the way down the leg, all the way down to the talons. Whoops. And that helps, again, with silent flight. So that's another difference between an owl and other birds of prey, other birds that eat animals, is those feathers going all the way down to their talons. Now, because they're birds of prey, they need ways to catch their food and eat their food. So owls and other birds of prey have talons, these really sharp claws that they use to grab onto their food with. So they primarily use these to help them catch their food, and then they use those sharp beaks to help them rip up their food. If it's something small enough, the owl will swallow it whole, something like a mouse or a rat. If you're a great horned owl, you can swallow it whole. If it's something too big, like great horned owls will eat skunks, then you have to rip that up because that would be too big for them to swallow. But otherwise, they do swallow it whole. Now, owls, they eat everything. They eat the feathers, they eat the fur, they eat everything. So they eat the bones. So when they eat this stuff, it goes into their body, but the bones don't go all the way through the digestive system because that could damage the digestive system. So unlike us where we just wouldn't eat the bones, they eat them, but then they bring them back up. And we call those owl pellets. Let me show you that right here. So, sorry about the reflection. So this is an owl pellet right here. These are skulls of some different animals that they might eat, and this is what the pellet looks like when it's opened up. So they cough up those bones and those feathers and those fur, so that way they're not going through their body. And one of my favorite things to do is to dissect these, to open them up and see what's inside. So you can open them up and find the bones, find the feathers, but what's really neat is you can actually place the bones together and almost make the full skeleton of the animal that they ate, since all of those bones are still there with them in this pellet. So that's one of my favorite things to do. They do that a lot in schools nowadays, and it's really neat. They do sanitize it before somebody dissects them, so it's not like you're dissecting one that the owl just coughed up, but it's a really neat activity that I love doing. And actually, if you're local, I will be doing a Nature Explorers in-person program this summer in August, and I don't remember the exact date of that, but it's in August, and we'll be doing we'll be meeting live owls and then dissecting owl pellets. So if you're local and you want to do that activity, come sign up and join me for that program. It'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's one of my favorite things to do, and that will be in August. Okay, so the owl that we're going to meet today, let's go back to that, again, is a screech owl. Before I bring him out, I want to show you this. This is a screech owl. It has its wings spread out. Screech owls are one of the smaller owls that you're going to see here in Michigan. It's not the smallest. There is an owl that's even smaller called the saw-whet owl. Screech owls are here all year long, whereas saw-whet owls are migratory owls, and they come down to our area during the winter time, and then during the summer they go back up north, and they're even smaller. But screech owls are one of the smaller owls in Michigan. Now, a lot of screech owls are a gray color. We call them the gray phase screech owl, but there is a red phase as well, like this one. So screech owls can be either that gray phase, or they can be more of a reddish or burnt orange and brown color. So it is possible to see these guys here, and they're the same species, they just have a little bit of different coloration. And this coloration is a little bit more rare than the gray phase. All right, I'm going to check the comments here for just a second before I bring out Mortimer. Let's see, I don't think, hopefully my comments are updating. If you put a question in and I am not seeing it, I will go back through after the program and check the comments and see if I missed any questions. Right now, from what I can see on my other device here, I don't see any other questions coming in. So I think we are going to go ahead and bring out Mortimer. So I'm going to go get him. He's right over here, and I will be right back. Buddy. Okay, so here he is. Fortunately, he may not look at the screen. He's going to look wherever he wants to. But this is Mortimer. I think he's actually looking at some, oh, now he's looking at me. So in the room that I'm in the library here in the Stage Nature Center. It's a room where I can close the doors. That way I don't have to wear my mask, and that way I can do these live programs. We do have some taxidermy, so there are animals. You might see some behind me that are taxidermied animals, so they're animal mounts. And sometimes the owls, when they're in here, they notice those. Although I think right now Mortimer is looking at me. Oh, there we go. So Mortimer is a screech owl. And screech owls are, like I said, one of the smallest owls we're going to see here in Michigan. So screech owls are actually very, very common. We just don't see them very often because they blend in so well with the trees. As you can see his colors here, you can imagine that if he were sitting in a tree, those colors would help him blend right in. And screech owls like holes in trees. So they like cavities. So they will sit in the hole of a tree. And one way to know if you have an owl or not is if there's a tree that always has a hole in it, one day you're walking along and all of a sudden that hole has just disappeared, there's probably something sitting in that hole, maybe a screech owl, like Mortimer here. So that's one way to find them, but they are very common. Again, we just don't see them very often because they're nocturnal, so they come out at night. They have that excellent camouflage. They have silent flight, and screech owls are very, very small. So, but they're very common. For example, Royal Oak, if you're here locally, Royal Oak has a huge population of screech owls. And you can actually put up a box for a screech owl, and they might live in it. They might make a nest in it, and it's a great thing you can do. Their boxes are not very large. The holes are not very big, and you don't want them to be too big because you don't want predators to get in there. Screech owls feel more comfortable nesting in boxes that have really small holes. So their boxes are not very big at all, and that's something great you can do to give them a place to live, especially since sometimes we cut down those trees that they like to put their nests in because they're trees that are maybe hollowing out. So putting up a box is a great thing you can do. So Mortimer, let me tell you a little bit about him. I'm going to turn him here. There you go. You might be able to see that one of his eyes looks a little bit different from the other. So remember I said that all 5 of our owls are rehabilitated owls that are with us because they had injuries when they were out in the wild that don't allow them to take care of themselves anymore. Well, Mortimer had an eye injury. He was found in 2012 in Vicksburg, Michigan, as a juvenile screech owl. So he was not an adult. He was a young owl. And so we know about how old he is because he was found within his first year or so of life. So we know it was 2012 when he was found. He was a juvenile. So we know he's 8, 9 years old now. Screech owls can live to be between 10 to 15 or even close to 18 years out in the wild. Average lifespan for them in the wild is about 14 years. So Mortimer's getting up there, but he's otherwise pretty healthy. We don't know exactly what happened to his eye. He was found like this, and he is partially blind in his one eye, which is why he's with us. He can fly, and he can get around, but he can't get around as well as an owl with full vision that doesn't have any injuries, which is why he's with us. It'd be harder for him to hunt and find his own food. It'd also be harder for him to get away from predators, like maybe larger owls, because the larger owls will eat the smaller owls out in the wild. Dog eat dog world, I suppose. Anyway, so they can become prey to larger owls. So that's why Mortimer's with us. Let me see if I can turn him again here so you can see his eye. He's demonstrating his ability to turn his head pretty well. Oh, see, there we go. You can see him. They have the amazing ability to kind of hold their head still while their bodies are being moved. Now, Mortimer, because he was rescued as a juvenile, he is pretty calm around people. When they're rescued as adults, like Autumn, our great horned owl, they tend not to feel as calm around people because they grew up in the wild and so they have that wild in them. Mortimer, he has been with people since he was very, very young, so he grew up mostly around people, which is why he's so calm. If he were really stressed, there are a few things that you'd be seeing right now. Our other screech owl, Rito, is still getting used to people. He was rescued as an adult, and so I'm still trying to get him used to people, although he's doing better. A couple of things you would see differently is that, and Mortimer might nibble at my finger when I do this. There we go. So there's one. So if Rito were out, you'd see his tufts of feathers up on his head like that, because when screech owls are scared or they feel threatened, they'll stick those tufts of feathers up to help them either look bigger or to help them blend in with the trunk of a tree. Rito, when he's out, he also stretches his body up thin. His eyes will get really wide. And one thing that will tell me, here, I'll put those feathers back down for you, buddy. So one thing that he'll do is he'll also blink a lot, and that's another sign that he's stressed. But Mortimer is pretty relaxed. He's quite used to hanging out with people. Another thing that owls will do when they're stressed is that it's called gulating. It looks like panting, and their throat goes in and out, and they do that to help them release heat. Like I said, kind of like us panting. But Mortimer seems to be pretty relaxed right now. So like I said, he was found in 2012 in Vicksburg, Michigan, and he was taken to a licensed rehabilitator. So in order to rehabilitate or rescue an animal, you have to be licensed by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. So if you ever find an animal that's injured, you need to go online, Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and Google. You can Google at Michigan DNR or whatever your local state's natural resource department is, and look up licensed rehabilitators, and then contact somebody who can take care of them. And then what happens, as in the case for the 5 owls that we have, sometimes those injuries don't heal properly, so they can't be returned to the wild, and then they find a facility that is permitted, like we are, to take in owls permanently or birds of prey permanently that can't be released. So that's why these guys are with us, to help us teach people about them so we can learn about them. So like I said, Mortimer is 9 years old now, and he about average 14 years out in the wild. I'm going to play his call for you. A lot of people will hear this around their house and not realize that what they're hearing is an owl, because it doesn't sound quite like what people think an owl sounds like. So if you hear this, you might have a screech owl around your house. Hopefully you all can hear that okay. So that's called the whinny, because it sounds like a horse whinnying. And the other sound they make is called the trill. So that's what they sound like. A lot of people will hear this and they think that they're hearing maybe a frog around their house or an insect, but it's an owl. And you're most likely to hear this call during the wintertime, because owls, they do breed or they mate during the wintertime, and they'll breed and start their nests late February or so, depending on the owl. So the most likely time of year you're going to hear them is during the wintertime, which is why when I do our owl walks here, it's not to torture people during the wintertime out on the trail. It's because that's the best time to hear them and see them. So I'll be doing some owl walks this coming year. I'll probably start in November and do some then, and maybe December, January, but keep your eyes on the website and you'll get to see those. So that's what he sounds like. And their call is not as loud as, say, a barred owl or a great horned owl, so it doesn't travel as far, at least to our ears. So that means if you're hearing this, most likely this owl is not very far from you. Most likely it's somewhere nearby. Now, like I said, a lot of people don't realize that they have these owls around until they know how to identify their call. Just a fun story. I live in West Bloomfield, Michigan, and a few years ago, after a snowstorm, one day somebody had left the door on their mailbox open, and the next day they went out to their mailbox, and there was a little screech owl sitting in their mailbox trying to get out of the snowstorm. So again, they don't need a very big space, but that just goes to show you that they're all around. We just don't often see that they're there. So putting up an owl box is a great thing you can do to help these guys. All right, I'm going to try to see here if we have any questions. Let's see. Oh, I see a lot of people saying he's adorable. All right, which he is. Mortimer is pretty adorable. Let's see. Can he still blink? Yes, he can still blink. Sometimes Mortimer, when he's relaxing, he'll keep this eye closed, which is the eye that had the injury. But he does blink. Now, like most of our owls, because they have things that require extra care, some of them get medications. Mortimer, we put a gel in his eye to help keep it moist. So that's something that we do special for him because of his eye issues. So, but he can still blink. The damage was more to the inner parts of the eye, that I think, than it was the outer parts. But again, we don't exactly know what happened to him. These owls are, sometimes they're hit by cars. Sometimes, especially the smaller ones, they'll fly into a window and get an injury that way. Sometimes they're attacked by a dog or a cat. One of our owls here, if you saw Sam in the earlier live Facebook, you may remember that she had been attacked by a dog. So there are a variety of ways why they end up getting getting injuries like this, and they don't exactly know what caused his injury. Let's see. Somebody said, "What does he eat?" Good question. So we feed them mice. He gets one little mouse a day. During the winter time, they sometimes will eat more because they're trying to keep weight on their bodies and keep more fat on their bodies. So sometimes during the winter, I'll give him 2 mice a day. Not every day, maybe like every other day or so. So that's typically what he eats out in the wild. They'll eat a variety of things like insects, mice, small snakes, and things like that. How long do they typically live? So again, it's about an average of about 14 years. I usually say 10 to 18 years, but average lifespan in the wild is about 14 years. Let's see. Checking to see if there were any more questions. Okay. I don't see any more questions at this moment. But again, if you have a question, please feel free to put it in the comments there. So I think what I'm going to do now is I do have a really cute video of Mortimer that I'd like to share with you. So owls, they get a lot of their moisture from their food, but they do get some moisture from drinking from water, and they get it while they're bathing. So they do bathe. During the winter time, they don't bathe typically because the water can freeze on their bodies, and that would be very damaging to them, freeze on their feathers. So during the winter time, you won't typically see owls bathing, or you won't typically see them going down to a source of water for like a river or a pond or something like that to get water because it's of how cold it is. They might still drink some water during the winter time, but not as much. They get a lot of water from their food. But Mortimer loves to bathe. It's one of his favorite things to do during the summertime is to get down into his water bowl and take a bath. And I have some fun video here that I took one time of him bathing that I'll show you here in just a moment. I do see another question. Do you find the food pellet under their nesting site? So actually that's one way to find an owl in an area. If you know that there's an owl living in an area and you're trying to see it, one thing to look for are the pellets sitting at the bottom of the trees. So if there's a nesting site, there will definitely be pellets sitting around the trees at the bottom of those trees because they oftentimes like to roost in the same trees or in the same areas during the daytime. So that is one way you can find them. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm going to show you this video here really quickly. I think you guys will enjoy it. Gotta find the presentation. Okay, here it goes. Oh, you know what? I don't think you guys probably saw that. I think I accidentally kept the camera on me. So let me play that one more time. I apologize. Okay. Now you should see it. All right. So that was Mortimer taking a bath. I hope you guys were able to see that okay. Somebody wants to let me know, just to give me a heads up if you were able to see that. I think the first time I played it, the camera was still on me. So I love watching him take a bath, and as you can see, he really gets in there. They'll flip their wings around and get their head in there and really get that water into their feathers. And I've seen the barred owls and the great horned owls do this as well, but Mortimer here likes to take a lot of baths. I've seen him even take more baths than Rito, the other screech owl. So I always enjoy it. All right, I think I see another question here. Let's see. Are you able to see the owls while at your center? Yes. So actually, I was going to tell you guys about that. Let me flip screens here again because I have something else I would like to show you. So one of the things you can do, oh, and I think I did it again. I didn't transition. Okay, now you should be able to see it. So like I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, one of the things that we're doing right now are live owl tours. And I've been doing these owl tours so people can see the owls. Some of you may know the history here. We've had the owls since February of 2018, so 2.5 years. And we have been fundraising to build a new structure to move them into that's more secure and better for public viewing. So right now, the owls where they're at, they are not on public display for people to just go and visit on their own. So what we do is I do owl tours where people can sign up and I take people back to see them since the area that they're at right now is not open to the public. So you can sign up for one of these owl tours. The next one we have coming up is Saturday, July 18th from 2 to 8 p.m. or 2 to 3 p.m. I'm sorry. They're usually about an hour, maybe a little bit less, just depending on how it goes. It's a $3 fee, so not too much. And you'll get to see all 5 owls, and I usually bring out one of the owls for you to see up close. A lot of times it's one of the screech owls that I bring out so you can see them a little bit better, but not guaranteed. And that's one way you can see these owls, these 5 owls here at the Nature Center. We are still fundraising for the structure, and it looks like hopefully the City of Troy is also helping us with funding for it. And they're helping us get the company who's going to help us build it. And as of right now, we're hoping that the structure will be up and built by this coming winter. Yay! Fingers crossed anyways. So when that structure goes up, we'll be doing a lot of announcements on our website, on our Facebook page, probably in the newspaper. We'll probably be doing a ribbon cutting to let everybody know that that structure is up and open. Once that structure goes up, you can see the owls anytime you come visit here, whenever we are open, which would be when the trails are open, which is from dawn to dusk. And that's how you'll be able to see the owls. But right now, you need to sign up for one of these owl tours. We're limiting it to 10 people, and the owl tours do fill up fast. So I would highly recommend that if you want to sign up for one of these, that you register for that pretty quickly. And you can go onto our website, stagenaturecenter.org, to sign up for these. Now, in the past, we would allow walk-ins for programs if we had space, but right now, because we were trying to control the numbers and not having too many people in our programs, you have to pre-register. Walk-ins are not accepted for any of our programs right now. So go onto our website, stagenaturecenter.org, to do that. So again, we do have an owl fund that you can donate to. You can go onto our website, stagenaturecenter.org or tornaturesociety.org, and this owl fund will help us build this permanent structure as well as help with the care of these 5 owls. And it does take quite a bit to care for them. So if you donate to the owl fund, then you can help support us that way. Another thing you can do, you'd have to come do it in person, is you can purchase a t-shirt. So back early on when we first got the owls, there was a Boy Scout named Wyatt who did a lot to help us fundraise, especially for the owl structure. And one of the things that he did was he helped design these t-shirts and print these t-shirts and get these t-shirts made so that way we could sell them and raise more funds for the owls. So it does have our logo on the front, and on the back of the t-shirt are the names of all 5 owls. So if you're local and you want one of those, you can come by the Nature Center. They're $15 up until the size of 2 extra large, and then they go up $17 and $18, 3 extra large and 4 extra large, but we also do have youth sizes as well. And that's something you can do to support us and show your love of the owls. And lastly, we do have our owl sponsorships. So you donate a certain amount, and depending on the amount that you donate, you get different prizes and goodies, like a book or a owl puppet, a certificate. So it depends on which level you donate at. And then when this owl structure goes up, we will be putting all donors' names on a sign on the owl structure. So you choose one of the owls if you want to, but even though you choose one of those owls to sponsor, it all goes into the same owl fund. So you can also get more about that on our website, stagenaturecenter.org. I do have some catching up to do, so if you are already an owl sponsor, I do have some catching up to do to get some of these prizes out to you guys, and I'm working on that now, especially now that we're open again. So look for that stuff in the mail. But otherwise, this is another way you can support the owls. Okay. I'm going to come back here. All right. I see some more comments coming in, so I am going to check. Awesome. Yeah, somebody said I have an owl t-shirt. So quite a few people have actually gotten the owl t-shirts, and what's really neat is that there are owl t-shirts from people all over the country. So if you do get an owl t-shirt, you should take a picture and post it on our Facebook page. So that way we can see your support of the owls. Let's see. Just checking to see if there were any other questions that I missed. All right, I don't see any other questions. Again, after I'm done here, I will go back through the comments and see if I missed anything. Mortimer has just been kind of hanging out and relaxing on my hand here. Like I said, he's pretty relaxed around people. But I hope you guys enjoyed meeting him today and getting to see that video of him bathing. I can watch that over and over again. If you want to watch it again after this presentation is done, this program will be posted on our Facebook page, and it'll also be posted on our website along with all of the other live Facebook programs that I've done since March. So today is the last official one of this series. However, we are looking at doing some other Facebook virtual type videos and things to keep connected with you guys. So please watch our Facebook page for that and watch our website. It's been great connecting with you guys this way. If you have any further questions, please feel free to put that in the comments here. Okay. And, you know, as far as the owl t-shirts, I forgot to wear mine today. But otherwise, I would show it to you. But hopefully you got to see the pictures up there. All right. Well, that wraps up our final episode of the Virtual Nature Explorers. It's been great. I hope to see you guys at the Nature Center sometime. If you want to join up for one of the live owl tours, or come on one of the owl prowls where we'll go out to try to find live owls out in the wild, because we do have them here, which is really neat. So I hope to see you guys sometime. Again, thank you all for your support and for joining us. See if Mortimer will look that way one more time. There we go. Sometimes when I have him out, he'll actually fall asleep or kind of close his eyes and just relax on my hand here. So, all right. Well, thank you all. It's been great, and I hope to see you sometime. Everybody take care, stay healthy, get outside, but be healthy, and I'll see you. All right. Take care. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. I've enjoyed doing these with you guys. All right. Take care. Bye.